Assalamu alaikum. So, how many of you are familiar with the flipped classroom model? You're familiar with it, like you know what it is, but how many of you use it? You use it? Not many? Some? Okay. You don't need to flip a whole class, right? You can do parts of it. Okay. I'm Edna Lima. You can call me Edna, or Dr. Lima, or Dr. Edna, whatever you feel more comfortable with. I come from Ohio University. I am actually not from the United States. I'm from Brazil. Soccer, yes? You guys know about soccer? It used to be the country of soccer, not so much anymore. Well, we did win the last Copa America. It was a good thing. So I have lived in America for 12 years. I teach at Ohio University, and I teach graduate students linguistics and also academic writing, so writing for research. So I teach engineers how to write their thesis and dissertations, physicists, linguists. This is my first time in the Middle East in general, so I'm very excited to be here. A very long trip, almost 40 hours, but I'm here, so that's a good thing. Yes. I don't need to give you my resume. You can check it online. So is there anything you would like to ask about me? If you feel comfortable asking questions, please do. No? Well, as we go along, if something comes up, please don't hesitate to ask. So this whole presentation today is about flipping your classroom to maximize the opportunity for students to practice and for them to collaborate. The question is, can I flip every classroom, be it physics, mathematics, a little more heavy, content-based, the same way we can do linguistics or literature where students read outside of class? Well, we are here to answer those questions today. So hopefully you will take something out of it. Please feel free to ask questions, and if I start talking too fast, just do this. I get excited and all of a sudden I'm what did she say? So please feel free to interrupt and ask questions, and also ask me to slow down. I'll continue, Ahmed. Now my video is coming up soon, so. That's a good idea. I'll just remove it from here, put it there. Yes. So here's how we are going to work today. So first we're going to have an introduction to the model, and then we're going to talk about design, implementation, and considerations, technological tools that you can use to enhance your flipped class, and then you're going to do some work, of course. And I'll talk a little, you do some work, I'll talk a little, you do some work, so that you don't get too bored. Okay? All right. So, I'd like for you to look at this scenario here. I'm going to read it in case you can see it well from there. So Mary is taking an electrical engineering class, and she's having a hard time keeping up with class. She's trying really hard to keep up with her instructor and classmates, but she's failing because she's a little slow, and the teacher is too fast for her. So she's slow, the teacher's too fast, so she's not keeping up. She cannot understand the concepts. And engineering is not an easy thing, at least not for me, because I'm a linguist. Mathematics is not my biggest, my strongest suit. So for me, I would have a hard time keeping up too. So at this pace, Mary is about to fail the class. What can she do? This is destroying her self-motivation as a student. am I dumb or something? Am I stupid or something? What's going on here? So she is not feeling very confident. What can she do to fix the situation? The teacher is not always available. You guys know we are busy people. You cannot be available all the time, right? So you have your office hours. So some students need your help all the time. Copying the homework is not a good idea, right? It's not ethical either. So, should she just drop the course? Well, you're not intelligent enough, drop the course. Change your major. You can't tell a student to do that. I don't know, at least in America cannot. Okay. So, what is your suggestion? How could you help Mary? Yes? A tutoring, a private tutor? Okay, that's a good one.
Looking for online and check YouTube's and other lectures.
So check materials online. Collaborate with another student. Good? Did I see another hand in the air? What do you think, ladies? Ask for help.
Maybe changing the way of teaching.
Changing the way of teaching. That's a key one there.
Try to contact with your instructor.
Okay.
To explain the problem to your instructor and try to help him.
Talk to the instructor and say, listen, I am in trouble. Please help me. Right? I'm not very familiar with your educational context because, like I said, it's my first time here. Do your students feel comfortable enough coming to you and saying, I'm in trouble? Yes? Yes. Huh?
Most of them are shy to come.
Most of them are shy to come, right? So how do you know who is in trouble? Asking questions and trying to figure out. Okay. So you know when they look at you like, what is this? You know it's, yeah, they're in trouble.
After the first quiz.
After the first quiz. So not good grades. Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to have you do a little discussion as we figure this out. Okay. So we've talked about Mary, so keep her in mind, and your suggestions and everything. So I would like for you, I don't know how easy it is for you to arrange yourselves, and I would like for you to group yourselves based on general science. Can the engineers get together? Physicists? Do you know each other? Okay. So throughout the workshop, it will be easier if we talk to people from the same field because it's easier to apply the concepts. So if you could get yourself together, you can move the chairs. Later we'll have someone arrange them again. Can you please get in groups of 3 and 4? And I'll show you the questions in a second. Do you have any experience teaching or attending a flipped class? And if so, what were the tools used? What are the advantages and disadvantages of the model? Of course, I'm going to talk about all of those things throughout the workshop, but I'd like to hear your ideas first. And finally, can the flipped model be successfully applied to the classes you teach? Physics, engineering, nursing. Is it going to be possible to make the class successful? So talk to each other in your groups, and then we'll share your answers in a little bit. Good? Okay, so now we know that students prepare outside of class. So you assign readings, videos, whatever else you would like to assign. And then they come to class supposedly ready to do some practice. What are the advantages and disadvantages you see with this? Let's start with the advantages. How is this helpful to students? Yes?
This communication of students.
Okay, so students communicate more with each other, with classmates, okay? So critical thinking, the ability, okay? The confidence, okay.
Kind of self-paced learning.
Self-paced. Okay, there you go. That's good. What else? Yes?
Allow the student to be independent.
Independent.
Allow students to be motivated, to be responsible, how to bring the information for their later steps in their life, such as a master or graduation project or something like that.
Yes. So more motivated students. There you go.
If I relate this to the scenario you have presented, Mary.
Yes, Mary.
She can, if she is a good student and she is motivated to prepare ahead of class, so she can be more confident and she can cope up with the class.
Okay, so that would help Mary,
Yes.
right? Yes.
Give teacher feedback about the student, what they learn, what they don't, they have difficulty to learn.
Right. Because when they come to class, you are supposed to have a very nice prepared set of activities. And then you will be able to tell who really understands the concepts. Because when they are doing exercises, especially in groups, you are going to be able to tell who didn't prepare, who didn't understand the concepts. And when you have them working in groups, it's like a problem solving together. I don't understand this part of this, but you understand that part. So together, we are able to understand the whole thing. I teach, every class I teach is flipped. The classes I told you about, the engineers read about academic writing outside of class, and they come to class, that's when I give them exercises. So for example, this week, class is about writing the introduction of your thesis. How it's structured in engineering, what kind of elements engineers use in their thesis. So they read the materials, and then when they come to class, they analyze real published engineering thesis. So I give them just the introduction of that, and then together they figure out what the elements are, how well structured that thesis is. So they already know what they're looking for. And if they're not prepared, it's a little embarrassed, because they look at Dr. Lima like, sorry, I forgot to read. And I'm like, all right, we have to figure this out. So together, they figure it out. So they can actually see the thesis. And sometimes I try to bring different ones, chemical engineering, electrical engineering, because I know who my students are. So I can get them in groups. Okay, here, electrical engineering thesis or dissertation, and physics. So they know and they see the real published work. So the things that they learned about, they're actually seeing in practice. Oh, that is what I'm supposed to do. That's how I'm supposed to start my thesis. And look, theses in engineering are very different from theses in linguistics. The citation styles are different. The amount of information you have there is different. So being able to do the practice in class, they go like, oh, now I understand what it is that I am supposed to do. And one of the assignments of this class is by the end of the semester, the students have to finish one chapter of their real thesis or dissertation. And generally they choose the introduction or the literature review, because those are a little more challenging to write. No, the methods are easier because you set it up. So at the end of the semester, they really have a chapter ready to send to their advisors. And that's when the flipped model helps them, because they are really practicing, and when they're writing, they know what they are doing. So this is just an example. So all my classes are flipped, so that in the classroom we can have the practice. So I really believe in this. And now we are going to talk about challenges and all that, and how we can address them and everything. So let's, we don't have it figured out, right, yet? So here's what we're going to do. So this is an example of a video that you could use for your students. Now look at this. It's only 2 minutes and 55 seconds. You're not talking about watching hours of videos. So see, you guys, now you're my students, yes? So you're in the roles of students. See if you find this helpful. Would you watch this outside of class if the teacher asked you to do it? Is it helpful? But this is going to tell you what the flipped model is. So,
every day, 7.2 million students walk into classrooms without an instance. These classrooms generally look the same. 30 students sit in rows of desks, taking notes in their notebooks while the teachers stand at the whiteboard teaching lessons. Regardless of the load level, each student receives the exact same information at the exact same pace. As Ms. Jackson presents the same material, students respond to her. Tommy gets it, while Allison is bored, and Maria is lost. At the end of the day, these same students head home. While at home, they sit at the kitchen table doing their homework and trying to remember what Ms. Jackson said. Students like Tommy make it most avoidable homework, while others like Allison find it easy and fly through it. At the same time, students like Maria get frustrated and need some material. Ms. Jackson recognizes students have different needs and would love to work individually with each student, but this requires time and resources that her school does not have. One solution to this problem is the flipped classroom. Here's what it looks like. While at home, students sit in their rooms watching videos of the lesson that Ms. Jackson assigned. Tommy is still able to work at his normal pace. Allison is no longer bored because now she can use this new technology to fast forward with the easy material. And Maria is no longer frustrated because she can review the material that she didn't understand, pause it, and move on to it. When she really gets stuck, she can get help from her classmates. New technology platforms like Moodle and Lily make it easy for her to chat online with her classmates. Just as the homework is different, the classroom is different as well. Instead of standing in front of the room speaking, Ms. Jackson walks along the room. She checks in with Tommy as he looks collaboratively with some students. She pushes Allison further with some more challenging work. And she helps Maria with the pieces that she still doesn't quite get. In the traditional model, the teacher stands between the students and their knowledge. But with the flipped classroom model, students have direct access to their knowledge, and the teacher serves as a coach, mentor, and guide, helping the students access this knowledge. The flipped classroom leverages technology in a way that lets both Ms. Jackson and the students make the most of their time and efforts.
helpful? So, in 3 minutes, the video explains what it is to you. You do not need to read 50 pages, 100 pages to understand certain concepts, right? Do you like the video, how it's presented? It's fun, isn't it? So what happens here, you help students that are slow. And the ones who are fast are no longer frustrated because they can read at their own pace. And this is I've noticed with my students. I don't have to worry about students getting frustrated. Dr. Lima, I don't understand this. Can you explain it again? And the ones who are fast, they read the things in 5 minutes at home. And then they come in, they're ready to rock with the analysis, right? Okay. I am going to, after the workshop, at the end of the week, I'm going to give you, I'm going to send you a sheet with all of the links to these things. The websites I'm going to show you today, so you can have the links. And you can revisit the materials. Okay, there's a lot of links and tools that we're going to look at and apps and all that. So I'll make that available to you. So you don't need to take notes. So this is, there's a very nice book. It was written in 2017. It has 19 chapters about flipped classroom. So everything you need to know is in one that book. And I have the reference at the end of the slides for you. You're going to find everything. So it's an edited volume. So you're going to have, for example, one chapter is about how to flip an entire engineering class. So it's a very helpful book. You can go through whatever interests you, the challenges, the designs, the implementation, and all that. So my entire presentation today is based on that book because this is the newest information that we have. And it's a very good... It's a little expensive, but you can purchase separate chapters. So you could, choose a chapter and buy it. So I'll give you, can you all see it from there? I'll give you a second to read this. So the flipped classroom started because teachers in schools, they used to target the middle level. You're not going with the high level students, not the low level. So you went with the middle. And what happens is the slow students didn't learn and the fast students were frustrated. So they were like, how can we solve this? And that's how the flipped classroom started. And interestingly enough, engineering is one of the fields that started it first in the United States. So there's a university there. The engineering program is done through the flipped classroom. So it is possible to do it with the hard sciences as well. So notice, please, that flipped learning is different from blended learning. What is blended learning? Some weeks you meet students face-to-face in class. Some weeks it's online work. It's not that. You still have your traditional face-to-face, but they're going to read in advance. Okay? So sometimes teachers get confused. What is the blended? What is the flipped? So blended. Do you guys teach any blended classes? Any of you? No? Where you meet them one week? It's very fun because, you teach them one week, the other week you are on vacation. Not really. They come to your office during class time to ask questions. But that is another different model there. So everybody's familiar with Bloom's taxonomy? So here's how it looks in the flipped model. Before the classroom, you have remember and understand. When the students come to class, that's when you apply, you analyze, you evaluate, and you create. So I was giving you examples of my writing class. So in class, they analyze, and sometimes I have them write pieces of text. And that's when they apply the things that they learned in advance. Let's write that in. So I asked you to discuss about the advantages. So here they are. Oh. Technology is messing me up today. More concise and to the point materials. I showed you a video of 3 minutes that explains to you the whole thing. The students don't need to read the book to get the main content, the main ideas, right? And they don't want to do it either. I don't know here how you do it, but in the United States, teachers are encouraged not to use books anymore. Why is that? We used to have students in biology buying $300 books. And what happens? You work on one chapter and they get angry because that was money for food. Students are always in trouble financially, at least in the US. So $300 and you use 1 or 2 chapters. So we are encouraged to select different materials from different sources, and they are a little more targeted. So you have one video like that for one chapter, right? More information sources. You have a book, now you have videos, now you have readings, now you have websites. Now it's about the student, it's not about us anymore. The students are the ones learning and controlling their own process. Teachers are no longer the star. We are called facilitators. You are there to guide them, but they are the stars in the process. Self-paced and self-directed. I understand that. Let me move on to the next one. No, I don't understand that. Let me watch it again. Flexibility. They can read this at night, in the morning, during supper. In the classroom, they're tired, they don't want to do it, and you're making them do it. So with this model, they can do it whenever they feel like they want to do it. I like that idea, to be able to control what I learn at what time I want to do it. You probably feel the same way, right? So I'm going to tell you, okay, exactly at 10 o'clock I want you to do this. You're going, no, she's annoying, right? So now students can actually solve problems in the class. How much did they understand about that chemical engineering process? Now you're going to know. Because if they cannot solve the tasks that you're giving them, something is wrong. So it's time for you to catch up with them, maybe explain concepts a little bit more. And I know, that some people might be resistant. Yes, it sounds sketchy. But I can tell you, I've been doing it for 12 years, and I really enjoy it. Now the students are going to talk to each other more, instead of with you only. You call their names, answer this question. Now they're going to talk to each other. Like I had you to do the discussion. You were in control of the discussion. I was not there telling you what to do. Right? So it was you. So increase opportunities for formative assessment. What kind of formative assessment do you give your students? Quizzes, midterm exams? What else? Final exam. So the formative assessment is the one throughout the semester, yes? So you do it in the classroom. Homework? Homework? Okay. Assignments? Projects? Presentations? So a lot of different kinds. So you don't need to do it anymore with the traditional way. Here's a paper quiz, do it. You can use technology to create your assignments. They can do it at home. Well, now you have to be able to control what they are doing. But I teach graduate students, and my premise is this. You chose to go to graduate school. Nobody's making you. I mean, I wouldn't go to graduate school because somebody made me. Graduate school is difficult. I was there for 8 years, and it's hard work. So my premise is graduates, you shouldn't have to control graduate students. I don't know how you feel about it. But in my opinion, you're a graduate student, you're expected to do the work. That's correct, right? You're not expecting them to cheat. What is the point in cheating? You're becoming an engineer. Who's going to do the stuff for you? So now undergraduate students, you were asking about undergraduate students. So for undergraduate students, you might want to figure out different systems if you're concerned about them copying things from each other, right? But graduate students, generally, you don't have that problem. You can also use, ladies, you mentioned presentations. How do you give feedback to students on presentations? A rubric. With technical. Right? With the flipped model in technology, you can give feedback in different ways. You can record your voice giving feedback to an entire class. So you say, and it helps with your grading too. Because you have students, everybody had problems with question 15. So you can record and answer why question 15 was a problem and how to solve it. So it makes your life easier. You just put the recording online, students can go there and listen to it. So you don't have to spend hours and hours grading anymore. So this saves a lot of time. How many students do you generally have in your classes? 20, 30? 45? Smaller classes? All of them are about 45? It's a lot of grading, no? So you spend a lot of time checking stuff? So you can even put a rubric online. They can check the answers themselves. That saves us a lot of time. I don't know. I love teaching, but grading is the worst part. And listen, I grade papers, entire papers, so they are 25 pages each. So I'm reading a physics thesis here, and then here I'm reading a fine arts thesis. So my brain is all over the place. I have to do that with papers because obviously they are very individual. But if you have problems where you have answers, put them online. Students can go there and check.